My name is Nate Smith. This is TQA Weekly. If ever you have any questions, comments, suggestions for stories, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. And before I get to the topic, I would like to thank everybody who actually helps me with this show by going to patreon.com/TQA Weekly. This is kind of how I paid for the backgrounds, lights, and all that you currently see right now. For those who are subscribers, you may notice there is no computer behind me or blue wall or whatever because, well, it's behind that tarp. Yes, literally. Today's topic is all about memory leaks. Memory leaks, well, it's an unexpected flaw crashing applications and operating systems seemingly randomly. Why? Because it affects computers, tablets, cell phones, servers, game consoles, smart devices, and other electronics using memory. And it can be attributed more specifically to either the configurations of operating systems, applications, plugins, and drivers, or just the way that everything works, or other types of flaws in them. Because of this, it is very hard to diagnose as a problem. And for those who want a more clear picture, if you had a swimming pool of 1,000 gallons and you can fill the swimming pool with 100 gallons per minute, you have to stop filling the pool after 10 minutes or at least be able to empty 100 or more gallons per minute from the swimming pool to avoid flooding. In computer science terms, when we are referring to a memory leak, we are referring to the fact that that application is assigned a specific set of memory for its use, and it simply floods outside of this, taking up all of the other system memory progressively as the application runs because of badly or poorly executed code. It is a very hard thing to actually diagnose because some applications are rarely used, are too small to cause much of a dent in most systems, or mostly professionals using professional grade applications are running these kinds of applications for even longer amounts of time. And we see it because the application doesn't run for 5 minutes. It runs for 5 or 10 hours, which means that the computer would eventually fill up with all of this junk information that's not being managed correctly, causing it to crash. More specifically, that is what memory leak is. But is there a way to fix the issue ourselves? I mean, unless you're going to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars of just buying more RAM for your computer and getting the Windows license to match it, eventually there's not much you can do about it. Once the computer has a memory leak, it will eventually crash. The only thing you can do is to get a hold of the developer of the operating system. And by the way, it affects every operating system itself. Getting to the hold of the developer of the applications, the drivers, and even the plugins. If you can diagnose, at least if it was related to a plugin or a driver or something, then you can kind of figure out who you're supposed to contact. But for the majority of the time, you might actually have to contact all four and give it the specifications of your computer so that there could be a patch that specifically fixes this kind of stuff that happens to your computer. It is very hard to detect, and it is something that you might actually have to include as information, things like operating system devices, firmware, BIOS version, software, plugins, and a whole bunch of other different vectors of information. Pictures and videos are awesome for developers because if you can't replicate this problem the same way every single time, that might be a specific issue. However, if there is a specific set of circumstances that is repeatable, you may want to help them figure out how to actually commit to that kind of thing. So most of the time, those are kind of issues related to memory leaks that have to do with plugins themselves. So I hope you know now what a memory leak is and why that computer program of yours just seems to crash for no reason whatsoever. If you liked this episode, like it. If you didn't, dislike it. Don't forget to subscribe. And of course, go to patreon.com/TQA Weekly to help me out with this show. And have a great day. Bye, and let's see you here next week.